Hey everybody, on this week's episode we are going to recap the Moyak July online event where some records were broken, including Big Bass and Total Stringer. We are going to go over the River Extreme event, the first time we've ever tried one of these events, and it was a big success. Carrie Evans went out there and just destroyed those fish. So we're going to talk about that a little bit too. We're also going to do something a little different in this episode where we're going to talk about and discuss the Bassmaster Kayak series. This is something new that's come on the scene this year, and there are ways that you can get involved still. And so we're going to talk about what is Bassmaster, what does it mean for kayak anglers, and how can you get involved. So if you've ever wanted to get involved in Bass Nation or Bassmaster and fish from a kayak, we're going to talk about it and let you know how you can do it with our special guest, Tyler Cole, who's one of the tournament directors for Bass Nation. And he's going to go over everything we need to know, as well as the upcoming Open at La Crosse. And we're going to talk about the Missouri State Bassmaster Championship as well and how you can be involved in that. So stay tuned, and here we go.
Josh, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
And I'm doing good. It's man, it was kind of a busy week, man. We had a lot of stuff going on. We had the river tournament, the end of the month ended for the online. We had the team trail. We just came off, all this, Taney Como. It seems like it's been pretty busy lately.
Yeah, it was a hectic start to August, that's for sure. I mean, we had records broken in the July online. Then we had the river event, which is the first time we've ever gone extreme. So yeah, it's been a busy start to the month, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
man. Just to think we still have so much coming up this year. A couple more trail events. I got the All American, got the state championship, and talking about that, we're gonna get into that, some of the Bassmaster stuff on this episode, and but man, we got a lot left, and we've been through a lot, and overall, I think it's been a good year for fishing. It's been kind of crazy with this pandemic, but 2020 still has been a great year in my opinion.
Yeah, we've done the best we can. I mean, that's all we can do. I mean, hopefully, you know, things are crazy right now, man.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
world is crazy right now. I'm just
yeah.
gonna say it. The world is freaking crazy right now. But all we can do is just keep on keeping on and go fishing and just do what we do. So
That's
that's
it, man.
that's all I know what to say, man.
That's exactly it. Well, man, this weekend, get away from the crazies, get on the river. August 8th, we're gonna go floating. Sounds like a good time, man. I was talking to Grant the other day. He was like, "Well, I think I'm gonna go. It sounds like a good time just to hang out. It'll be good to get out there on the water and just hang out with everybody rather than competing."
That's right. We're going to meet up at the Hootentown Access Saturday morning. We'll do a float. I don't know how long it'll be. Depends on the water flow. I think it shouldn't take too long. Right now, the water level conditions are pretty good. But yeah, we're just going to all hang out. We're going to share tips and techniques. People can check out different kayaks and rigs. Um, we're also going to pick up trash. We want to try and help out the community as well. We fish here. We want to protect our waters. So one of the ways we can do that is by help keeping our streams clean. And so we're going to pick up trash as we go. We might have some prizes for the guys that can pick up the most trash, or maybe the biggest obstacle, whatever. You can bring your canoes. I mean, it might even be better to bring a canoe because you'll have more space to put some of this trash in or fish from, or some food. Excuse me. We will stop at about the halfway point, or right around noon, and we'll pull up on a nice little gravel bar and we'll cook some lunch. Moyak's going to provide lunch for everybody, so just bring some drinks and some snacks or whatever you want along the way, but we'll provide lunch. So the float trip should be a good time. It's going to end up at Hootentown at the campground, and there's several guys and people that are going to be camping out there, getting to share just our kayak community camaraderie. That's what it's about. So if you want to camp out, if you want to float, if you want to see, maybe just how Tourney X works, and you need somebody to show it to you in person, we can catch a fish, throw it up on a board, and show you exactly how to submit a photo for a tournament. show you how kayak tournaments work. There's going to be a ton of knowledge that you can get in a low stress environment. So that's the whole point of it. And I hope some people come out and see us for the first time, because it will be fun too. Because I imagine the guys are going to be cracking it. I mean, there's going to be some stunts pulled. We might have to have some contests, like a tug of war with our kayaks or something, or I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it'll be a good time no matter what we do. And then, a couple weeks from then, we'll be at Palmy, August 22nd. I saw your post about the crab boil, crawfish boil.
Yeah, we're gonna be eating some Cajun crawdads,
Man, that looks
and,
good.
andouille sausage with some taters and corn on the cob. I mean, and green beans. It's gonna be some good stuff. Big thanks to Peyton and Brennan for helping out and do that. They run traps on Table Rock, so we're gonna get some good clean crawdads. If anybody's worried about that, they shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it's gonna be good. So yeah, we're gonna feast. I think everybody's looking forward to Palmy. We're going to be at the Clearlight Inn, there in Hermitage. So, yeah, Palmy's up next. And we're going to be live, too. We're going to be in person. We will be in person for Palmy.
It's going to be a good time.
I can almost promise it. It's a COVID promise. We'll be live. I've already called and confirmed it. We don't have any mask restrictions. The conference center is okay with us being there, and so everything should be good. I think we're good to go.
Yeah, they might kick us out, but we're gonna get in there.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. The River Bonanza just wrapped up this weekend, and you ended up fishing it. Is that correct, Josh?
Yeah, I got a chance to come out and play.
Man, how'd you get out of judging all them fish, man?
It wasn't for. I got tricked, is what happened. Like Wednesday, there was like 7 people signed up for this tournament, so I'm thinking, okay. If there's only going to be a few people that do it, it's not for points. It's just for fun. I can jump in and go play and go fish, and I'll still be able to, judge and have somebody help me out. It'll be okay. Yeah, tournament day, there's 30 people signed up. And then my computer crashes. So, yeah, needless to say, I ended up fishing and then coming home and judging almost all those photos.
Wow.
I didn't. It was a late night for me, and I was exhausted, to say the least. But yeah,
we had 30 anglers, 262 fish. Man, it was cool. Big Bass came in at 20 3/4. Lance Burris.
Yeah, Lance.
And
monster.
He on the river, man. He's a stud. He's a stud wherever he goes. But
right,
man, he I feel like he fishes the river quite a bit. And then Jared Geary came in at 253 3/4. We got Jeremy Mitchell sitting in 4th, 290 3/4 inches. Brandon Prince, I think him and Jeremy, they float quite a bit, and they're part of that Wounded Warriors project on those rivers. 303 inches. Dorman, catching him again wherever he goes.
Surprise.
306 3/4. And then Kerry Evans, 386 1/4.
He just crushed it.
80 inches over Dorman. If anytime you can do that, man, you're having a good day.
I don't know if he was throwing the Ned rig or what he was doing, but he was on some fish, man. He caught a bunch. Congratulations to Kerry. And he did win $564 for that too. So
yeah,
little bit of money plus bragging rights to go with this. A great job, Kerry.
Yeah, and his best bass was 8 1/4, which is still a pretty big bass. Kudos to that guy.
18, yeah.
Had a good time. And then the River Bonanza, the team trail as well. We had Active Duty. They came in with 155 inches. H&H Bass Destroyers, Dorman and Jim, 156 1/4. And then Bass Ackwards, they took the team trail event home for that, 163 1/2.
Yep, Kerry Evans and Darian Beadle. I mean, Kerry, once again, he had his best 5 was 83 1/4, so that's pretty good. And Darian, he had 80 1/4. So yeah, those guys won pretty strongly. So
you could tell you could tell they did their homework, because they were posting some pics during the week of them fishing and getting out there on the river, man. It was
those 2 guys are river rats too. They know how to fish a river well too. Not that anybody does, and I think we're all river rats, but yeah, they knew right where they were going.
And then we just wrapped up the July online, man. Like, nuts.
Wow. I
Man,
mean, this is nuts. I mean, we haven't seen anything like this in KBF or anything. I mean, we wow. I mean, first off, Peyton and Brennan were just going back and forth all month long, and Peyton comes out and he catches that 24-inch monster. I mean, 24. That's a new Moyak record. We've never seen a 24-inch bass thrown on a board before. Jeff Mellencamp did it last year in a KBF event and a KBF online, but it wasn't a Moyak event. But I mean, other than that, that's the only time a 24-inch bass has ever been thrown on a board in Missouri, period. So second time ever, and it ties. So Jeff and Peyton are the only people with a 24 in Missouri that I know of in a kayak tournament. I'm pretty sure that's the facts, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Wouldn't be the first time. But then Brennan, he comes out and then he just keeps on plugging away. I mean, these guys are going out. They work all day long. They go out after they get off work and spend all this time on the water. I'm not sure if they have wives or girlfriends. I don't think they do. But Brennan, he went out there and he jacked him too, 110.5 inches. I mean, that is definitely a Moyak record all time, for total length too. His smallest fish was 22 inches. I mean, give me a break.
yeah. So the top five, we got Mel Ash. He slipped in there with 97, and
Yep.
I was watching it because
You watch out for Mel.
I was sitting there fifth for a little while, and him and Steve Sison. Steve had 97 and a half. I think he had one good day on Lake of the Ozarks and did well out there. And then Troy Caldwell, he was sitting there for a while. I'm trying to pull up. I think he had 101 and 3/4 inches,
Yeah,
which still
101 and
is,
3/4. Yeah, he's like the silent assassin. You never really hear him coming, but he's doing really well.
yeah, he's up there. And then
Great job, Troy.
of course Peyton, stumped with that 24-inch bass. He took the big bass and took second place, and then Brennan Banks, 110 and a half inches.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to see that beat, and if it is beat, it's probably going to be by Brennan or Peyton.
Gosh,
It's those monsters. I'm not going to say where they're fishing, but everybody knows where they're fishing. Those fish are just monsters down there. It's
yeah,
crazy the amount of fish that keep coming out of this lake.
yeah,
Lake X.
Lake X. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
ask Brennan or Peyton. Maybe they'll tell you. I don't know.
that's cool. It's definitely cool to watch them this month and go at it and go back and forth with each other. But still, man, kudos to those guys. You guys did a great job. Let's get into the AOY standings. Let's go ahead and start with the. Let's do the online. Let's run through those, Josh. Let's do the top five.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, the online's been updated, since we just finished up with July. So guys have got 5 events in now, and it's getting to be a really tight race. We've got Chris Moyer. He's in 5th place right now with 1,155 points. Right there is Richie Lafferty in 4th with 1,268. Then you got Mr. Dominguez. I think you know who that is. He's in 3rd with 1,297. That's a great job, man.
Thanks, man.
And then you got Troy Inky. He's the man, 1,329. And then in 1st place, Mr. Consistent, Jared Fosnow, 1,369 points. So that top 3, actually the top 4, the top 4 anglers are all neck and neck. Yeah. So it's anybody's game in there. It's going to be interesting to see how it turns out with the August.
Yeah, Jared. I mean, definitely Mr. Consistent. All fall, all early spring. He's been there. We talked about him quite a bit on those lines, and and that's what it's about. If you can get out there on your time, on your water, then do it, man. If you can't come to the lives, that's okay. I mean, this is still. I mean, I think this is just as hard sometimes to go into the live events. Depending on where you're going. And
it's a totally different animal, and it can be a grind, and it can be a great time and really relaxing too. And that's why we have it. It can be a great way to get an entry level, to learn about tournaments. It's also a way to qualify for the KBF National Championship. That Angler of the Year is going to get a KBF NC slot. So
that's awesome.
Best of both worlds.
Team AOY, we got the Active Duty sitting at 1096. Team Bonafide, I believe that's Lance and Kiefer, correct?
Yep, that's him.
The Furious Drum Snatchers,
Troy Inky, Brian Hillman.
El Lobina Banditos.
That would be Jeff Mellencamp and Richie McMichael that are making a charge for that first place against H&H Bass Destroyers.
Watch out, Dorman. Watch out, Jim.
Yep, Jim
Got
and
up them at
Dorman
the
got some.
that one spot.
And Brian and Troy ain't too far behind him either. But
Nah,
it's
man.
actually those top four are all pretty close together too. So it's anybody's game on that one.
Yep. Just more of the same here for your individual AOY standings. Keaton, say it, man. I can't say it.
Keaton Vokley.
Oakley. I gotta write that down or write something. But Keaton, man, new to the Moyak Club, doing a great job, having a good year. Brian Hillman, man, he's not far from next guy up, which is Richie McMichael. They're pretty close there, but those top three guys are super close in events. We got Dorman Huey sitting in that second spot, and then Lance Burris. And it's gonna be a tight race at the end.
Yeah, there's less than 15 points that separate the top three. So yeah, it's definitely, once we start dropping scores, it's going to be a good one too. So yeah, exciting to watch these Angler of the Year races unfold.
Yeah, man, it's coming to that point where people are starting to look at it. And so let's think about it. If you've how many events, if you needed to finish the year, you need 5. How many events could you have missed by now?
That's actually why we do it. So maybe you can't attend every tournament, work, life, or whatever, so you can drop 2. So you can miss 2 tournaments and still be in the Angler of the Year race. So it's going to be so that's the whole purpose of the drops. It's just so that you don't have to be at every single tournament, because that's not really feasible. Some guys can't do that, and we understand. So that's the purpose behind it.
Yeah, so if you guys, if you've only missed 2 events, you still got, a chance to get in there, get on the points, and
absolutely
and drop those 2 lowest scores. I mean, it could be, we could get the next 2 events, and this board could be completely different.
Yep, so that's true.
Well, cool, man. That's our AOY standings. Josh, before we get into our guests, let's talk about Bassmasters. I know we got a couple events coming up for their national events, and then we also have our event on the state level coming up with this, state championship. Before we kind of get into our guests and talking about it, as far as like getting signed up for Bassmasters and all that, is the deadline already passed, or can anybody still sign up for that?
Yeah, that was the whole state Missouri Bass Nation program has been extended. We've gotten up to August 28th now to sign up. So the deadline was sooner, but I spoke with the Missouri Bass Nation president today, and we are allowed to extend that as long as we can get our dues in by September 1st. We're good to go. So August 28th is going to be the deadline to sign up. Now, what this is Bassmaster coming into the kayak scene. This is the first year that they've done this, and there are national open trails, and there are events on the state levels, and the states are doing their own thing. In Missouri, we're going to have a state championship. Now, this championship is open to any Missouri Bass Nation member. And to compete in this tournament, what you're going to win is you're going to go for a shot at going to the Classic, the Bassmaster Classic. I mean, anybody that's been fishing for a while knows the Bassmaster Classic has been the big show for a long time. I mean, we got some new tournaments now that have gotten pretty big, but the Bassmaster Classic is everybody's dream. I know when I was a kid, I wanted to go to the Bassmaster Classic. I was like, I'll get there someday. I'm the next KVD. I'll get there someday. But this is a chance for us to do it. Kayak anglers now have a new division in Bassmaster. So this state championship is going to be held on Table Rock Lake. It's going to be a 2-day event. You're going to fish from your kayak, and the top 5 anglers of this tournament are going to earn a ticket to the Bassmaster Classic Championship in Fort Worth, Texas in March next year. They're going to share this. The winners of that tournament are going to share the stage with the pros. You're going to be on TV. It's the big time. This is it. So there are ways to qualify for the Classic in a kayak through the National Opens, like we're going to talk about with Tyler Cole when we bring our guest on here. But some guys can't travel and can't fish all those tournaments. So that's what these state level events are for. So you can go and fish one event and qualify for the Bassmaster Classic. I mean, I don't know anywhere else you can do that. The boat guys are probably going to be jealous because you can't do
Yeah,
that. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
one tournament, all you got to do is pay your membership dues and your entry fee, and you've got a shot to go to the Classic. Now, the winners are also going to receive some money to help sponsor that trip to the Classic. You're going to get some money to help cover the cost of your entry fee is going to be paid, and some expenses money as long as excuse me, as well as prizes as well. So those top 5 guys are going to get some money to help sponsor their trip to the Classic. So that's what we're doing in Missouri this year. Right now, it's $15 to join Bassmaster, and then you need to join Bass Nation, which is another $30, and then the Missouri Bass Nation dues are $30. So $75 total gets you a ticket into this tournament. So basically, it's membership only, so you can buy your way in. So the payout, and prize package aren't what we're really used to in the kayak community. I know we're used to a lot better, but this tournament is more about just getting our foot in the door with Bassmaster. Next year, things are going to be a lot better. There's a lot of room for growth. But for me personally, I see this as an opportunity for local anglers to go fish one tournament, and you're going to get to qualify to go to the Huck Bassmaster Bass Nation National Championship. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a cool opportunity to fish, one of our best fisheries, Table Rock, in our backyard, and be able to qualify that and say, hey, I've been to the Classic. Like
That's all
that's
right.
exciting.
I mean, it's an advantage for Moyak anglers as well because we're hosting this event in our backyard, in Table Rock. So it's a chance for guys. You know, we have 27 signed up so far. Like I said, register. You can still sign up if you see this and want to get involved. Shoot me a message or an email. We can definitely get you signed up. But as of right now, there's 27 anglers signed up. Top 5 are going to the Bassmaster Classic with some of their expenses covered. So your odds are pretty good,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I expect we might get a few more people signed up, but that 30 is probably going to be about where we're going to sit at. So if you want to be involved, you're going to fish in a tournament with 30 other people, and the top 5 are going to go to the Bassmaster Classic. So if
It's
that's something, I mean, that's pretty good odds if it's something
Yeah,
you'd want to
very good
do.
odds. Yeah, definitely very good odds. And it takes away the fact of you having to travel to La Crosse or to Chickamauga or Clear Lake, and having to work a little harder for one of them spots. And so it's cool that we've got that opportunity here right here in our backyard to do that.
Yep, absolutely. And if anybody is interested in joining the Missouri Bass Nation and wants to get involved on this, like I said, just get a hold of me and we'll make it happen. We've only got a couple weeks left before that deadline, though.
Yeah, the membership's pretty sweet. You get, I think you get 2 magazines a month, which
Hmm.
comes to you as well. Which the reading's good on it. It's good stuff, good articles. Definitely, some promotional stuff in there that you can check out new lures and new baits that are coming out. But yeah, getting that stuff on a monthly basis, helps. That $70 just doesn't go to nothing. So
Yeah, and there are other perks too. You get discounts from companies like Power Pole, and I mean it's all listed up on the Facebook group there. But yeah,
well, cool, man. Well, let's get into the Bassmaster stuff more. So let's take a little break real quick, and then we'll sit down with Tyler Cole, talk to him about it, and talk about how he got started and what they see for Bassmasters, moving on this year.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for the state level, and so let's talk a little bit about the national level now.
Hey, what's up, guys? We are here with Tyler Cole. Tyler, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Man, glad to have you with us. Glad to talk to you about some of the Bassmaster stuff going on. It's been a good year so far. It's kind of been dicey, but the first few events have been really good. And I know we were talking about Lake Fork and how it was a good but tough experience for you. And I mean, tell us about how your year has been and what you can kind of expect right now from Bassmasters for the rest of the year.
My year, I've kind of laid back this year and been more focused on doing the directing thing. I fished a few of the larger level events. I went down to Lake Fork and came up a fish short. Just recently fished the Hobie event at La Crosse. I mean, year's been kind of messed up with all the COVID stuff, and I had a lot more travels in my plans, but you know, sometimes they just get shut down and you got to change up. But we're as far as the bass stuff, it's been going as well as it can with all the restrictions. And because the weekend at Fork was actually the weekend that all this kind of kicked off in March, and I was really hoping to get quarantined down there for like 2 months. You know, Fork for a couple months would be an all right gig.
Yeah, no kidding. I thought we were going to be stuck down there for sure, and then come back home and there's a toilet paper shortage, and the world's gone to crap since then. So it's been an uphill struggle ever since then. But I mean, you were involved with getting Bassmaster and these opens started, you know, on the nationwide scale. Kind of talk a little bit about how you got involved with Bassmaster, and you know, what do these opens mean to these anglers?
Basically, I got an email one day. I was at work. I'm a millwright by profession, so I was about 160 foot in the air, and I got my email ding. It was from Dwayne, and then he called me. He's like, "Hey, sign this piece of paper," he says, "and then call me back." I said, "All right." And he says, "Here's the deal." He said, "You know, Bass wants to put on some kayak events." He says, "What do you think?" I said, "Let's do it." I said, that's a big name to have in throwing their hat in the ring, you know. And so the planning started between me, him, Steve, Juan, Patrick, and Ben, and with John Stewart, and we went crazy with it. And we started looking at our perspective events, and it just kind of worked out. I actually switched my event at La Crosse so Hobie could get up here and put on their event, which was awesome. Because, I mean, you know, we're all about getting the anglers to the events, you know, and it doesn't matter. We're not in a competition. I mean, that's the thing we got to remember. We want to fill these events for everybody.
Yeah, and it's just fishing tournaments, you know. We're fishing.
Right.
It's supposed to be fun.
I mean, for me, a fishing tournament is going and seeing my friends, you know, that are across the nation. And that's the big part that's been tough for me this year, is because I don't get to see anybody when I'm at events. And it's taken a lot out of it for this year, but I mean, it's coming back. But so I booked La Crosse, and me and Jeremiah from Explore La Crosse are really, really good friends. And I said, "Hey dude, this is what we want to do." He's like, "Let's make it happen." And it just kind of went from there, and we started working with John to work through a good set of rules and get everything put down on paper, and it's just went off. I mean, Logan Martin was insane with, I think they had over 200 there. There was 144 at Fork, and we're now at officially 127.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to be, I can't wait for La Crosse. I mean, to get back up there, and that's huge too. That's a lot of people up there for that tournament. I mean, yeah. 120 some. I mean, wow.
Well, and it's going to be really interesting for the people that have fished it prior, because like the last couple of years, the water's been what we call pool level 13 feet. Normal pool is middle 8 foot. So, I mean, the water it's over 4 feet low from last fall at the championship for KBF.
Yeah, it looks, I've been doing some map studying, looking, you know, watching the FLW guys or ML guys that were there, you know, and it looks totally different now. I mean, there's grass growing where there was water what I'm used to seeing. So it's a whole nother animal, but I am kind of excited about it, because I think there's going to be a lot of places where them fish can hide, and it's a little bit better for us kayak guys to go out there and explore and find some of them little giddy holes.
Very, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting bite right now. I mean, you can literally take any technique that you can think of and catch a bag with it.
That's one of the things I love about La Crosse more than anything. I think you can go anywhere and do anything and catch fish. I mean, yep. I love that place, man. It's awesome. I got my bags packed. I'm counting down the days. I am ready to get up there and rock and roll, man. I'm excited about it, and I know you're going to do a great job at running the tournament. As far as the winners go and stuff, there's qualifications for the Bassmaster Classic, you know, the kayak version of that. So how's that going to work out?
That will be the top 20. Will get qualified for the Classic out of this one. And the Classic will be in Texas. That's what we know at this point. But it will be close to where the Classic's put on right now.
Which is Fort Worth, Texas. It's going to be somewhere in that area, we know.
Yep, and that's what I was told to say. It will.
Nobody listens to our podcast, man, so it's okay.
There's so many rumors. I've heard rumors all over the place, all the way to Sam Rayburn. I mean, it's crazy, and that was just like 5 hours away from there. So I don't know what's going on, but I know there's a lot of kayak anglers that are anxious to hear about how this is going to play out because, on the state level, the guys that are getting the state championships together this year, those anglers are going to get to qualify for this event too. I guess it's the Academy Outdoors and Sports Bassmaster Classic, presented by Huck Kayak National Championship. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's a mouthful. Right on, yeah. So, on these opens, there's only how many of the opens are left for this year for anglers to get out there and try and qualify for this tournament?
There is La Crosse, there is Clear Lake, and there is Lake Chickamauga. And Chick that should shape up really well in November, late November. Definitely, I'd been talking to a few guys down there, and they said the frog bite is incredible down there. So I'm booking it. I'm going.
No, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make that one yet, but I agree. I think that's like the perfect time to be on Chick down in November, man. That should be a good bite.
Yeah, and those guys down there put on a show down there. So and that was the thing. Being chosen with this list of directors was, that got me pretty good because I've ran tournaments up here, but not to the level of these guys. These guys are top level in everything they do.
I think that's what a lot of guys are excited about, the name Bassmaster, Bass Nation, actually getting involved and being a kayak angler, being able to be affiliated with that. And things are going to be ran right. They've been doing this for a long time. They know what they're doing. They've got their connections. This is going to grow into a new elite series. I can't wait to see where it goes in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, we gotta crawl before we can walk. So as long as we can keep the positivity up in fishing and what's happening, yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening on the state side that are frustrating.
Uh-oh, did we lose him?
I think so.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It gives me a chance to burp so we can edit that shit out.
Let me see if I can get me back on.
I forgot. What were we talking about?
So Bassmasters turning into Elite Series. It's got plenty of room to grow. It's got plenty of room to evolve. What do you see it going into?
I think the discussions over the winter will definitely change some things for the state series, and we'll have a little better format. We just basically, like John said the other night on KBN, we gotta just grow it. No matter what it is at this point, we just have to run with it. We just have to do it. And whether we like it or not, because I looked at Wisconsin's events, and it was $175 worth of fees for me to fish one event for $50 entry. Not ideal.
No.
It's growing the process.
It's just the first year too, and this was all thrown at these, to give a little bit towards these state clubs, the boat side of things. This was all kind of thrown right in their lap. They had no idea this was coming. They didn't really get much preparation for it. They were just kind of, because the states kind of run their own thing. Bass kind of allows the states organizations to do their own stuff. So it's been kind of on a, that's why I think that's been the slow process getting things going, because each state is ran a little different, and it's just going to take a little bit of time. But I think we're going to get there. This is just a year one. It's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
And it is a lot of fees to pay, like you said, to get into it. But if you look at it, like my perspective of it is, when I first heard about this, I just wanted to go to the Classic to actually be at the classic and say I qualified for it and compete at it, in a kayak, I would have paid a lot more money. I don't care what the fees are. I'm paying to go a chance to go to the classic. So that's the way I look at it, and that I think that's the way a lot of people could look at it this year as being year one, whether you've got to pay, extra $30 or not to join a state or the nation, you're paying for a chance to go to the classic, man. I mean, that's
and Bass does a ton of stuff with the membership fees. They support the programs and the outdoors, kids events, the stuff like that. That's a lot of stuff people don't see or don't look at also, because anybody will throw $30 to a kids event, here, have fun. And so, having them help and grow the outdoors is huge too, and being able to support that, to me, is a good cause no matter what we do.
So I know registration is closed for lacrosse already, but
Yep.
if an angler, it's still not too late for somebody to get involved in this. You want to talk about how someone who may be seeing this for the first time may want to show up at Chickamauga or go out to Clear Lake and get involved? How does that work?
Basically, just for the national side events, you jump on BASSMASTER.com, sign up to be a member. It's on sale right now for $15 for the membership, and jump on there, and they have a full kayak page on there, the tournament schedule, all the rules, everything's all posted up there, and just sign up, be a member. Then 24 hours later, that's the processing time. That's something that kayak guys aren't used to either, is processing time. It's always been tourney X, boom, there it is. Well, now we have to take some time so it can go through the office, sign up for the event, and you're in. Show up with your PFD, your kayak, your catch board or hog trough, and you're ready to fish.
Say if a guy is just getting signed up and he's starting at the state level, are there opportunities for guys to qualify through the state level, or is it just going to be these major events?
Yeah, no, you can actually qualify 10% out of your tournament series for the state level.
Yeah, Missouri is going to be the top 5. It's going to be top 5 out of Missouri.
Yep, and they do different criteria for each state depending on what you want to do, and which is, that's pretty awesome, because I know for lacrosse, I've got a few guys coming to lacrosse that have never fished a live event before in their life, ever.
Wow, that's awesome.
Have these bigger names going up that fish tournaments every weekend, and that to me is cool to bring all that together, because the one thing about fishing is it's always a level playing field. It's across the board. It's the most anybody can get on them for a day. A 2-day event's a little different story. You got to have some skill to keep up. But I'm not saying skill is not involved.
No.
But for a single day event, somebody stumbles on 5 big fish, and it doesn't matter. So
yep,
they can get them to the kayak.
Yeah, anybody can go out there and catch 5 fish. That's part of the appeal of it too. It's easy to do the sport, and now you can do it easily at a high level. So that's and many options at a high level, not just bass, but
That's pretty exciting for new guys that are just getting signed up, that they can qualify at their local level. They don't have to go to one of these big tournaments and travel and spend all this money. That they're still paying the same membership, but they're doing well. And some guys may play towards that, saying hopefully that those 5 spots, I can fish my local water and hopefully do better. And that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, there's a ton of opportunity, and I think you're going to see a lot more opportunity going forward. I think the national events will stay close to that 5 or 6 for the year, just so we can keep the participation up. It's not always better to have more.
Mm-hmm.
If a guy can plan 5 trips for a year, it's a lot easier on the vacation than trying to hit 10 events, And I mean, I've been through that as an angler too. You know, you try to chase a series. You know, you want to play the AOY game, and it takes a toll over time.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
So Tyler, tell us about yourself, man. Like, what was it for you? What got you into where you're at now?
I actually, if we really want to get into it, so it was just a shade over 5 years ago. I quit drinking. I was a full blown alcoholic, and just kind of lost. You know, I didn't know, I didn't have a direction. I woke up one day and I'm like, you know, it's time to do something with myself. And I found this online kayak tournament. I've always kayak fished on the rivers and stuff like that. I found this little online. It was the Midwest Kayak Fishing Series, and I jumped on it. And that was back when it was a 3-month long online. The first month you crappie fished. The second month you bass fished, and then the third month you caught 1 bluegill, 1 bass, and 1 catfish. And I've never catfished out of my kayak. It was a lot of Nebraska guys, Iowa, Kansas. I mean, the Midwest. You know, it was a really cool series. And I mean, I come into it and I'm like, you know, this is pretty cool. So I fished my first live event in Nebraska and ended up flipping my kayak about 10 o'clock. Lost a whole bunch of stuff. Came home licking my wounds. I'm like, all right, you know, maybe I'll just stick to this online stuff. So I got into the KBF online stuff, which is a great entry point for anybody. And I fished my first month and just got my butt kicked. It was, you know, I'm like, this is ridiculous. How are these guys catching, like, because that was back when it was 3 fish per month, and these guys are putting up like 62 inches. I'm like, what? This is bigger than any bass I've ever caught, you know? And so I stuck with it. We got to October that year, and it was the last qualifier for the national championship, which was at Kentucky Lake. And I led all month long. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever, you know? And the final day and the final hours, the guy beat me by a 1/4 inch.
Oh, man.
And I mean, just crushed me, because I was set. Like, I was booking hotel rooms that Sunday night. I actually took off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I fished 13-hour sessions. Lost my personal best fish that weekend. I mean, it was ridiculous. But I got home and I was ahead by like 4 inches. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going. Yeah, then all your dreams just go down the hole, you know. And so that winter, I just decided, you know, I'm gonna try to focus and really fish hard, you know. Try to travel around, hit these live events, and do this thing. And I ended up, I fished Iowa Kayak Anglers that year. I fished the KBF that year. And I won the AOY in Iowa. And I qualified for the old style TOC at Lake Fork. Well, then I ended up like 33rd nation in KBF, which was awesome for me. You know, I'm like,
that's really good.
So I ended up going to Fork that November and won the TOC at Fork.
Won the TOC, the champ. I was there. That was awesome, man.
It was
still great job.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major highlight for me. I mean, I won a lacrosse event the first year at fishing the KBF events too, and that was my first win at anything, and I'm like, yeah, you know. So you get a little confidence built up. But on my way home, I called and talked to Cody Prather, and I said, you know, in the past, anybody that's won the TOC has got a spot to Hobie Worlds. And he says, yeah, we didn't get that worked out this year. I'm like, well, I said, if there's any way you can, I said, I'd love to go. And he made some phone calls, and I got the final placement spot for Hobie World 7.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's the elite of the elite right there. To be in that tournament, that's a huge honor. And
Yeah.
I know that for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, 49 anglers from 27 countries. And I mean, the stories from it, not, are just, it's unreal. I mean, it's something that, I mean, if you could ever chase a Hobie Worlds event, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter who I'm involved with, chase it, because it's an unbelievable experience. We went to a mall, Sweden, and me and Jay Wallen and a couple of the Australia guys set out on this weed bed and just wrecked pike like I've never seen before in my life. You'll never forget. And so, I mean, for me to do that my first year, I'm like, I like this. And it's
Oh yeah.
It's helped me stay away from the alcohol. It's helped me, I've truly life doing this. Well, then I got into the directing thing and did some Iowa kayak angler stuff for 3-4 years. And we built that club up awesome, and it's thriving today. And I mean, they do a great job there. And then me and Josh had talked about the All-American, and Josh is making it come reality. I mean, my biggest mission, and that was the biggest thing, was putting together a mission statement at the beginning of all this, was, to bring the anglers together. No matter what, that's what we want. We're all out here chasing these little green fish with a brain as big as a pea that make us madder than hornets. But at the end of the day, it's all about the community. It's all about the love, and that's what it is for me.
It is. I really enjoy getting together with everyone at each event too. Whether we're camping out or sharing an Airbnb or, whatever. Memories are always made at every tournament and before you even start fishing. So, I mean, I enjoy that as well, man. I think a lot of kayak anglers do, especially the ones that are able and have been traveling a little bit and gotten out there on the road and gotten a little taste of what this is like, to fish with these other guys and meet up with these other guys from across the country at each event. It's a lot of fun. I mean, even down on the state level, just in your state series, meeting up with your friends from different cities in your state, and hanging out with them for each tournament. I mean, that's really great too. So we're really lucky to have that in the kayak community.
Yeah, because I mean, I dabble in the boat stuff with a buddy of mine. We fish some team tournaments, and we fish a Tuesday night boat league. And I mean, it's if you stay on the smaller scale of that, it's more of the community. Where if you get to the bigger events, it gets a little more tight-lipped. Those guys get a little serious about their money. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not when we get to that top level, but I mean, if somebody comes by me and says, "Hey, I just broke off my last purple buzzbait," I'd probably give them one.
You wouldn't have one unless you got it out of my tackle box.
You got it there.
Right on, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here tonight with us and talk about Bassmaster a little bit and lacrosse, and looking forward to coming up to lacrosse. And thank you for putting on a great event, man. Is there anyone else you want to thank, or you got some sponsors to plug out there, because here's a great place to do it, because we appreciate them as well. Lacrosse, the Iowa kayak anglers, I know it's a great club, so.
Well, you got the King of the Hammers, the new group in Iowa. You got the Iowa Kayak Anglers. You got, even you guys down there at Moayak, the Sticks out of Nebraska. I mean, these are the clubs that are building it. The KBL League out of Illinois, I went over to fish with them last year. They're great people. Awesome. They put on a great show. Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series is another one out of Wisconsin that puts on an amazing event. We fished the Madison chain over there for KBF a couple years ago. You get a chance, if anybody ever needs a direction to go, just reach out. I'm here. I'll answer your question anytime, day or night, if I'm awake. This whole working a day job really cuts into my fishing.
Right. Jobs always do that. Dang it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's, those are the people that are putting in the time. They're putting in the effort. They're putting in the hours. And I mean, as anglers, we need to be more appreciative of that. Because I know what it takes, and there's days it's trying. You're working a full-time job and doing your thing and some guy calls chirping your ear off because something isn't right. And it's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, so I mean, those are the guys we need to shout out to.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for coming on here tonight. Look, I can't wait to get lacrosse and see you again too, buddy. So,
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
All right. So,
Tyler, man, thanks so much. Hopefully we get to see you later this year at the All-American down here, and guys get to put shake a hand, and hopefully by then all this COVID stuff, that way they can shake your hand, is done. But hopefully we see you down there for that, man.
that works all good. I'll be there. I'm going to come into town a little early for that one. So,
Hey, thanks, Tyler. We'll talk to you later, man.
Take it easy, bud.
bye.
Bye.